Shannon O'Brien plans to appeal the Cannabis Control Commission's firing to Massachusetts Supreme Court, you guys. That's right. We need yeah, right. She's about to get litty over here because Shannon O'Brien plans to appeal her firing as the chairwoman of the Cannabis Control Commission directly to the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts, her lawyer said on Tuesday. And one of her former CCC colleagues will take over as acting chair in the meantime. Treasurer Deborah Goldberg fired O'Brien on Monday, citing unspecified gross misconduct. And on Tuesday, she announced that she had chosen Commissioner Bruce Stebbins to serve as acting chair of the CCC until a more permanent chairperson can be hired. The treasurer said the former gaming regulator, business development official, city councilor, and White House aide will ensure stability during this period and will continue to positively impact the important mission of the CCC. Meanwhile, O'Brien and her legal team are preparing to appeal Goldberg's decision to the SJC. William Gadia, one of O'Brien's lawyers from Todd and Weld, said state law gives O'Brien the option to go either to the Supreme Court or to the SJC based on prior cases with generally similar facts about removing high-level officials. That went directly to the SJC, like the case of the fired Turnpike Authority board members in the early 2000s. That would be the plan, Golda told the news service. O'Brien's appeal could focus on Goldberg's grounds for the chairwoman's removal and the rationale behind the decision. It could also touch upon the procedures that Goldberg followed to arrive at the firing, which O'Brien's lawyer said were, well, designed to reach a preordained outcome without supporting facts and without procedures, which might have allowed fair consideration of any other conclusion. A Superior Court judge late last year blessed a protocol that was used for the private hearings between Goldberg and O'Brien in this spring and summer, but specifically noted that she made no determination as to O'Brien's claims that the reasons Goldberg was given for her suspension and potential firing, in quotes, do not raise to the cause standard contained in the statute, but reflect mere policy disagreements or disputes over personal management or other operational matters. This is total gaslighting, you guys, but whatever. It is not entirely clear what the rationale behind Goldberg's decision to fire O'Brien is, and the treasurer did not provide specific examples of O'Brien's alleged misconduct or inability to discharge her duties as chair of the CCC in her statement on the firing on Monday evening, and her office has declined to provide a copy of any letter, notice, or report outlining the rationale for the axing. Goldberg sent O'Brien an updated notice of the allegations against her in March ahead of the start of the private hearings that were necessary to fire a commissioner, identifying 4 instances of conduct in which you're engaged that may warrant your removal, in quotes. The letter cited the findings of 2 investigative reports and alleged that O'Brien did the following, you guys. 1, made rude and disrespectful comments, remarks, statements, and presumptions to commission staff and colleagues that were perceived to be race-based or, at a minimum, to be racially, ethnically, and culturally insensitive. 2, made comments about the parental leave of the commissioner's executive director that deprived him of assurances that he could exercise his rights to take additional job-protected parental leave, and those statements combined with other conduct described in the second report created a hostile work environment. 3, communicated with and about the commission's executive director in a threatening, abusive, or humiliating manner that, in combination with the totality of behavior described in the second report, constituted bullying. And 4, was evasive and not credible in some of your communications with the investigations, including during a meeting at which your counsel was present. The complaints related to insensitive comments started with cross-complaints filed by O'Brien and the CCC Chief Communications Officer, Cedric Sinclair, that, in quotes, says that each was subjected to harassment, bullying, and discrimination treatment, among other contentations. by the other individual. According to a copy of the report prepared by the outside investigator who looked into the matter for the CCC, while the investigation was ongoing, Commissioner Nuri's Camargo and agency staffers also filed complaints that, in quotes, raised similar concerns, the report said. That report concluded that neither O'Brien nor Sinclair had been bullied by the other, but that O'Brien repeatedly made inappropriate remarks regarding the professional work relationship between Commissioner Camargo and the chief communications officer. That investigator also deemed credible Camargo's allegation that O'Brien suggested she knew Senator Linda Edwards based on an assumption motivated by racial bias, assuming all people of color know one another, you guys, is what they're trying to say in regards with that. Well, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. This is definitely interesting. It doesn't sound like they really had the gumption to really fire this woman, but at the same time, she drove the organization into receivership, so I think she totally should be fired and should get no pay or anything like that. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Go ahead.
I got a quick legal question for you, Dale, on this, because I was doing some research because I was going to come at Jason on a side note with Trump and all these appeals, because he almost always drops his appeals. He does. He announces that he's going to appeal all this shit, and he ends up dropping a lot of these appeals because it leads to disclosure. Would she have to, and it would lead to revealing all this other shit about him that he does not want out in the public. Is she in the same position in this case? If she goes through with the appeal, we're going to hear like all this other stuff disclosed about her?
Well, I would suspect that, she's in jeopardy of having that disclosed. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that this was a secret hearing, or whatever term they're trying to use,
right?
Yeah. I mean, due process requires notice and an opportunity to be heard. So you get to go there with your attorneys and make your case. But I do arbitrations, and arbitrations are secret hearings. You don't get to hear that. But when you take the arbitration or these secret hearings out into the real court system, now these documents become subject to public view. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what she really wants to do, because she doesn't like having her pants pulled down, and maybe she shouldn't go out there and expose herself to someone who's going to pull her pants down.
Bars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wonder, especially in a place like Massachusetts, if there isn't more dirt below the surface and they're using these, kind of surface level. And to be clear, I'm not minimizing, using racist rhetoric in the office by any means. But when I saw the headline here, I was really expecting there to be some heavier allegations rooted in, maybe in corruption, some backroom dealings.
Yeah.
This seems like again, not to minimize racism, but for what it could have been coming out of specifically the Cannabis Control Commission in Massachusetts, where they've had serious issues with their license issuing processes in the past, this seems kind of benign. That being said, I guess we'll see what happens, and maybe they were using these excuses so they don't reveal that there is wider issues that would bring into question the practices of the commission as a whole and everybody that works there, including potentially her or whoever is replacing her at this point.
So two things, and one is a question for Dale, the other is a statement, so I'll get my statement out of the way. Listen, the old lady is upset that she lost her job. She is in charge of an agency that regulates a social equity program, and she's calling people yellow people. Right. That just shows to me that you're so far out of touch with what is acceptable and basic human decency that you shouldn't be in control of any agency. And also on the appeals portion, I thought that when you're appealing a decision like this, you weren't able to bring up new evidence that wasn't brought in, or new arguments that weren't brought in on the initial case, right? Or are you able to then introduce? Because I don't know, how that works in this instance.
Well, if the hearing is in fact confidential or secret, unless you take anything out of that hearing, no one is going to be able to get to. She might try some Freedom of Information Act requests to get it, but I suspect they've kept the lid on this. But once you step out into real court system, all the evidence that was used to prove up the case or for you to defend yourself, now it's subject to scrutiny. Okay? And so a lot of cases just stay out of the public light because, like I said, when people pull your pants down, you don't always like what they see. And you get out there and, you know, like you said, when you're overseeing a social equity, and, you know, we have banter amongst each other here about melanated, you know, things like that, but no one's calling anybody the N-word or going after people because their color is yellow. I mean, it's mind-boggling that this O'Brien, who's probably a nice Italian lady, right, is out there saying words like this.
I think she's Irish.
Yeah, well, I know she is. It's sarcastic.
Okay.
But it's just hard to understand. If you're overseeing a social equity program and you have these kinds of views that come out of your mouth, you know, you should never have been there in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason really thought he got one there. I think she's Irish.
No, I was just, you know.
It is Boston.
She's in Boston. She's in Boston. I guarantee you she's a Celtics fan and the Patriots and all of it.
Boston.
She doesn't drink at all.
And she don't drive through Roxbury, right? Yeah.
Oh, my God. She's probably a Southie. Anyhow, shout out to the Southie.
I mean, it is interesting to appeal a decision where basically you were accused of being a racist at work, and you're like, no, I should still keep my job though. Like that's kind of crazy to me. Like,
do you think she's gonna bring?
Sometimes you kind of just take the L and walk away on that one.
Do you think her new evidence is her list of Black and Asian friends that she's going to present to us?
Oh my God, I hope so.
Hey, what about the rest of us multiculturals, Jenny?
Listen, I'm not going to go sign her letter of support.
You're not going to sign her letter of support? Well, I'll tell you.
They might have to go outside the state of Massachusetts to find.
I would love to assist with that receivership. It's fun. The receivership suck, but it's very interesting. There's some of the things that you can find. I've done some really interesting ones.
Well, I'll tell you what. We want to send a big thank you to the C Word with a big old super chat who says the art shows from both SF Weed Week and SF Hash Week have been picked up by Hall of Flowers in NorCal. For real, baby. Come say hi.
Big love.
Oh, yeah. Much love, you guys. Yeah, Hall of Flowers going down in just a couple weeks up in NorCal. That should be a good little event.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to whoever's dropping them Dropkick Murphys lyrics in the chat too.
Right?
Oh, boy.
House of Pain. How about we get a little House of Pain in here?
I mean, we don't have the rights. We don't have the rights to that music, Rico. Can't play that. That's cute.
Jason, you could sing it.
I'm not singing.
Jason, I haven't heard you sing in a while.
Thank
Jason.
God.
Let's hear them pipes.
Don't worry, Christmas is coming. Today he could sing "Baby It's Cold Outside," but
yeah, that's
pipes.
right. Yeah,
Blue
I can sing that today, baby. It's cold outside. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking about
what does that mean? It's 65 degrees in LA. It's
freaking
Dude,
cold, bro. It's cold
today,
AF
man.
today, bro. I mean, Sohum, you come out here, you'll see what we're talking about. It probably feels like Colorado to me out here today.
I woke up shivering, man. It's cold.
Yeah.
It was 100 degrees on Monday, and it was 61 this morning when I got up.
Oh wow.
And I live in a little place called Heaven in Newport Beach where we haven't gone past 90 this whole heat wave.
It's getting cool in Austin too. It just broke under 90 degrees this week.
Oh, I'm really glad you used this actual
we had a 75 degree. Oh, you know what? Just for that, Jason, I'm wearing this shirt just for you. What does this say right here?
I don't know. I can't
You
read
started reaching down,
it.
and I'm like, "Where is he going?" I want to turn away.
I can't see it.
Jason? ATX. That's
It says Yeti. It says Yeti, bro. Can't see that. Can't see. Your shirt says Yeti. Your shirt says Yeti.
I left my do rag flap down this morning. You know what I'm saying? It's super cold.